All right, so are you ready to dive in? Today, we're going to tackle something I think a lot of people are interested in,
Yeah.
learning English at home.
Right.
We're going to break down an episode of the podcast, English Dose. They had some really good tips in there for, you know, becoming fluent without having to, hop on a plane,
Exactly.
go to an English-speaking country.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about maybe chatting with a native speaker or understanding those lyrics in your favorite English song,
Right.
or maybe you just want to dive into that English novel that you've been looking at, this one's for you.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that English Dose is really practical. They don't mess around. It's kind of like how we do things here, too,
Exactly.
Get straight to the tips.
Yeah, the first tip they had was to create an English environment at home.
Okay.
So one of the things they talked about was like switching your phone settings to English.
Oh, yeah.
I did that once.
Yeah.
It's quite a learning experience, trying
Yeah.
to navigate your phone in a whole different language.
Especially at first, right?
Yeah.
Kind of jarring.
Yeah, but it gets you thinking in English.
Exactly. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's these little things
Yeah.
that can really make a difference.
That's kind of like full immersion light.
Mm-hmm.
They also talk about watching English movies and TV shows with English subtitles.
Right.
I tried that with this British comedy show.
Oh, yeah.
And I started understanding the jokes so much better.
That's great.
It really helped.
Picking up new vocabulary and everything.
Yeah, and understanding those like British puns.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. But even if you don't have all the time in the world to watch TV,
Sure.
they say you can read in English for just 10 minutes each day.
10 minutes.
That's it.
Yeah, that's doable.
Yeah, but why is that so effective?
Well, it's all about this thing called spaced repetition.
Oh.
So basically, when you revisit something that you're trying to learn
Okay.
over and over again,
Yeah,
you're strengthening the pathways in your brain.
makes sense.
Makes it easier to remember.
So it's all about consistency then.
Yeah, not just like
Oh.
cramming it all in at once.
Got it.
Yeah.
And speaking of consistent practice, the next thing they talked about was speaking every day.
Oh, yeah.
Now they even said you can talk to yourself in English.
Yeah. You can describe what you're doing,
Right.
like while you're cooking or cleaning.
Yeah, just like narrate your day.
Yeah. It sounds weird, but it helps.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But I think the hardest thing is, having a conversation with an actual person.
I agree that can be scary.
Yeah.
Like, what if I mess up?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why the podcast recommends starting somewhere that's, more relaxed.
Okay.
They say try AI tools or like online speaking clubs.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's like a safe space to practice.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, this next tip I'm really interested in.
Okay.
It's called the shadowing technique.
Okay.
You basically repeat along with the audio.
Oh.
You try to match their pronunciation and rhythm. I always wanted to try that with some of my favorite English songs.
That's awesome. Yeah, it combines listening
Yeah.
with pronunciation.
Makes sense.
And they say, if you start with something that you enjoy,
Right.
it's not so boring.
Makes it more fun.
Exactly.
So you don't have to jump into the most difficult thing immediately.
Yeah, they recommend starting with
Yeah.
stuff that's made for English learners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then as you get better,
Right.
you can level up.
Makes sense. It's like working out. You start with small weights,
Exactly.
and then you get stronger.
And the same thing applies to language learning.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Okay, so let's talk about the big one here.
Okay.
Vocabulary and grammar.
Yeah, those can be tough.
Yeah, everyone's a little afraid of those.
Right. It can feel overwhelming.
Exactly.
But what I like about English Dose is they say learn it naturally.
Okay.
Like, don't just memorize a bunch of lists.
Right.
Try to learn it in context.
They had a really good example of the podcast. They said, instead of memorizing the word frustrated,
Yeah.
try learning it with a whole sentence.
Oh, okay.
Like, I feel frustrated when I make grammar mistakes.
That's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
And to build on that, they said, try writing in a journal every day in English.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be super long.
Right. Just a few sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that will really help with,
Reinforcing
yeah,
vocabulary.
exactly. It's like a little workout for your English.
I love that.
Yeah.
Little brain workout.
So speaking of workouts, the episode really stressed the importance of consistency
Yeah.
and having fun.
That's key.
Yeah. And setting like realistic goals for yourself.
Right.
Like learning a few new words each day.
Right.
Or maybe having a short
Yeah,
conversation.
exactly.
So it's really all about putting in the work consistently.
Yeah. You're not going to be perfect overnight.
Right.
It's a journey.
Absolutely. Well, we made it to the end of our deep dive.
We did.
Hopefully you learned a little bit about how to learn English at home.
Yeah, and as you start learning, maybe ask yourself this.
You okay?
What's one small thing you can change today
Mm-hmm.
to make an English environment?
Yep.
Like maybe change your phone settings.
Oh, right.
Or listen to an English podcast on your commute.
Yeah.
Or just spend 5 minutes reading an article.
It's all about those little steps.
Exactly.
Great advice.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.
Bye.